future, talk radio will actually educate, inspire, and make you think. The future is now. Topics and music that affect your life from Universal Broadcasting Network. Tune in at ubnradio.com.
And greetings and salutations, everyone. You have tuned into Dr. Judy, WTF. I'm your host, Walt Lusk, and you are here on Dr. Judy, WTF, which is What the Freud. And, of course, we are on Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, and, of course, YouTube. And we really appreciate all the comments, likes, and amazingly number of shares that you've given us. And this is a call-in show, so if you want to get on the couch with Dr. Judy with your emotional ouch, please feel free. And the number is area code 323-843-2826, 323-843-2826. And if it's international, you can call us on Skype at UBN, Universal Broadcasting Network, UBN Radio number 2. And we are also later on going to do a Shrink That Tune by a lovely lass called Jewel. And the theme of this show is actually one that was suggested by a listener. I believe his name was Brian. And the only problem is I really wish I had thought of it because it's a great concept. And it's on highly sensitive people, or abbreviated HSP. And about a little over a year ago, I learned I was one of. And we're going to discuss that. So if you feel that you're one of the 20% of us that are, it doesn't matter whether you're male or female. It's pretty evenly spread. Then please get on the couch with your highly sensitive self and maybe your emotional ouch. And again, would love to have you do that and join the conversation.
Yes,
so,
we actually listen to our listeners,
yeah,
and
we
when
do
you
listen to
suggest
listeners.
topics, we'll totally take it under consideration. We just both happen to feel that this is a really good idea. And so you know how much we love call-ins, so please call in. And Walt, with all of your research findings, is it nature or nurture? What do you think?
I think it's more nature at this juncture. I really do. I mean, if 20 of us are very highly sensitive. We're more aware of people, of our environment, of emotions. Even animals, dogs and cats, can sense if you are a highly sensitive person. I know that cats specifically really are drawn to me, and I have how many times a cat, well, he's just a cat, he'll hang out and stay away, in short order, because I'm in outside sales during the day. They're practically on my lap, on the table, all over, and I never really knew why, and kind of like maybe it's one of the reasons. And they're always surprised. Oh, wow, he never does that. It's like, well, here I am. So I think it's more nature than anything else.
Okay, and I'll bring in the nurture part.
Okay, doctor. You know what? This says, much like a flower, they are, highly sensitive people, are beautiful yet fragile. And we really are a little bit more fragile than the average flower. So you're at work and an email comes in from the boss providing a few tweaks to a presentation that you have been spent all week on. You know that most of the feedback is no big deal, but nonetheless it leaves you feeling like a complete, total crap. Even though you've logically realized there's loads of evidence that provides you're smart, very efficient, and you can't seem to shake this terrible feeling of inadequacy.
Okay.
Although others might find this situation not such a big deal, to you it holds the weight of predicting your entire career to be a failure. Sound familiar? If so, you just might be one of the 20% of us who falls into the highly sensitive person. In general, this includes people who feel everything in the world around them more intensely, emotions, sights, sounds. This can manifest itself in highlight sensitivities, including an aversion to loud noises and itchy clothes, as well as keen ability to pick up others' feelings, concerns, however subtle.
Okay, so I think intuitively I agree that there's a big...
And we're more intuitive, too.
There's a big, yes, right. I can identify with a lot of what you just said, Walt. The itchy clothes is a big thing for me. got to cut those labels off immediately. Can't wear wool, or I'm starting to itch. Any clothes that don't feel like they're pajamas, not a good choice for me.
Really?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of comfort, and so I
that's
very
totally
much identify
understandable.
with it, and I think that that's what makes what makes for people to be sensitive to other human beings. So I could see how that comes with empathy, and it also comes with pain because, as you said, they're easily injured. And so for those of you who are and aren't familiar with my mind map, I'm going to run it through the lens of my mind map, even though I agree that part of this is very nature, and part of it is also triggered by nurture and negative core beliefs and such. So the mind map is a lens through which I look to heal human disconnect. And it starts with wounds of childhood, which there are 5 of. There's neglect, there's emotional abuse, sexual abuse, physical abuse, and smothering. And as a result of childhood wounds, I think that we can become overly sensitive, especially if we have to tune into our parents' needs and we have to people please our parents and become highly sensitive to them. We can be trained to be highly sensitive people.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as being triggered easily by life, I think that when we encode negative core beliefs such as I'm only good enough if I please others, or I'm not lovable because I'm not perfect, or such things, what happens is that if you can see on the mind map, when these negative core beliefs are tipped off, triggered off, we end up in panel 4, 5, 6.
4, 5, and 6.
Which is our What the Freud
Yes.
piece of the mind map. And What the Freud simply means that we're repeating patterns that we're repeating because we're incomplete. It's unfinished business. It's painful business. And it ends up with defense mechanisms. So let's just focus for right now on panel number 5, because highly sensitive people have different boundaries, don't they? Mm-hmm. So they're a little bit more permeable than the rest of us, in the sense that these loud noises penetrate through, bright sunlight penetrates through, emotional injuries penetrate through. And so as a result of this, people are it's just that saying, that which makes us rich can make us poor, and that which makes us poor can make us rich. So that which makes us sensitive can make us more empathic, more prone to keeping our environment beautiful and clean and neat, more sensitive to art and music, more sensitive to animals, more sensitive to love.
Yes.
Okay. And more sensitive to pain and pleasure,
Mm-hmm.
all of the above. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
so when there's a boundary, when we're trying to look here at the boundaries of a human being, we're really looking at the semi-permeability, the permeability of it, or the non-permeability of it. And I think that highly sensitive people have a harder time being non-permeable, even when necessary, even when the environment may be a little bit toxic. They still feel poisoned by it, even if somebody is
we've got a call.
Oh, wonderful. Happy to know that. Okay.
Well, hey, thanks for calling. You are on the couch with Dr. Judy. Hello.
Hello.
Guess we can't hear them.
Okay, hopefully we will.
We'll check.
And please call back.
Yeah.
And maybe
So highly permeable, you were talking.
We're highly sensitive people, but we can't pick up on the tone of that call. So
No, yeah.
so
Here we
call
go.
back, okay?
Yeah, no, settings are fine. Okay.
Okay. All right. So you get the drift that when our membranes are too permeable, everything seems to filter in, and then our neurophysiology gets easily overwhelmed. And so
Yes.
I understand that highly sensitive people need to not be interrupted, correct? When they're in their thoughts, they just need to stay in their thoughts and focus. And do we have the caller back?
Can we hear you now? No?
Okay.
Oops. All looks good.
I don't know.
Nope. Try again in a couple minutes. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm going to
please.
check some stuff.
Thank you.
Okay, so go ahead.
Okay. So, so again, going back to permeable membranes, non-permeable membranes, semi-permeable membranes. An example of a highly insensitive person would be somebody whose membranes are all closed up. They're permeable. So they've got, so to speak, a thick skin. And so people who are highly sensitive have a much thinner skin, which means that you have to kind of handle them with care. And there's a sense of overwhelm that easily manifests in their life. And so maybe in these cases, they do need to monitor their environment more carefully on all levels. The people that they surround themselves with, even the light that filters into their house, and the noise levels and so on. And so people who are highly sensitive have to really monitor their environment. So how are you doing with the tech support here? Is it able to receive calls? Yes? Okay. So we could try again. Maybe the person that tried to call in, please call in. And don't be too sensitive that we can hear you the first time around. Well, yeah, thank you for updating me on highly sensitive people. It's something that I'm learning a little bit more about as well. I tend to see things more from a nature perspective, but I can, from a nurture perspective, but I could totally see how people can be born with the sensitivity to be more prone to hurting if the light is too bright, or the skin is itchier if there's wool or a label or something toxic on their skin, and so on and so forth. I think there's a really beautiful quality to being highly sensitive.
It can be, for example, well, we'll see this. 3's a charm. Okay. Is 3 a charm?
Yeah.
Is your phone muted? We're so sorry we can't. Hello? Man, oh man, this is bad. Sorry.
And on the tech side of it seemed okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. I'm just going to say for me, I've always been sensitive to noise and sound, but that's kind of like, okay, so what? Mm-hmm. And I read a book about it, and one thing is we're sensitive to hot and cold. Yeah. I can't drink a hot drink. Because it's just not refreshing to me and doesn't work. I can drink cold drink all day long. In fact, when I was a kid, my mom liked to make hot soup, and it was always too hot, and everybody teased me because I put ice in the soup to cool it off. But about a year ago, I was just feeling overwhelmingly emotional for no really apparent reason. So I went online and I just started Googling stuff, and the net result was that you might be a highly sensitive person. So I read a book, and it actually confirmed that I am. Now, so it was really interesting.
Being that I am learning more about this, does it go with, in other words, if your eyes are more sensitive, does that mean
yes, in fact, it's funny, in the room I'm in, where my bedroom, well, hello?
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh, great.
You are finally on the couch with Dr. Judy and Walt. Was that you or us in terms of not hearing?
No, I just called right now.
Okay, you did. Okay. Well, thanks for calling. In your name?
Oscar.
Hey, Oscar. And you're calling from where? You're in Orange County?
Yeah. I'm
Super.
From Anaheim.
Anaheim. Okay.
Great. Welcome on the show.
Thanks for calling and being part of the show.
Yeah. Hi, Oscar. So what's going on what's going on with your life and around the subject of highly sensitive people?
Well, first of all, I just kind of want to say that I've been watching all your things that you put up on YouTube, and I feel like I have BPD. I'm 32, and I feel like I'm not really functional.
Okay.
So I think I feel like I'm highly sensitive, but I don't notice it because that's just kind of the way I am, the way I've always been.
Okay. So in what way, and tell me in what way, first of all, thank you so much for being a listener, and what are you learning from watching all the videos? What's been your takeaway from all of this?
Pretty much, I feel like I'm getting a better understanding that everything comes from the disconnect.
Yeah.
From even though I did have both parents, I feel like I was the shell. Like my mom tried to do everything for me.
Okay.
And I kind of just went through life like that.
Okay.
And I was kind of not made, but like I was a people pleaser, like definitely for my parents and everything. So.
And you said that your mother did everything for you. Do you think that out of all the wounds that I talk about, do you think smothering could be one of them?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
And I think she herself was wounded, like just deeply, where like she wasn't able to connect with us. I mean, I know she tried to do her best, but I don't feel that connection with her. It's kind of sad. And my dad's a narcissist, if I can say that.
Yeah.
I don't want to offend them, but you know, I just kind of grew up that double dungeon that you talk about.
Yeah. Have you read my book, or you just heard that term?
No, I want to. No,
okay.
I want to.
Okay,
yeah.
I talk about the double dungeon of darkness in the book, which is really, for those of you who've never heard the term, it's when you turn to your mother and your mother's not there for you. You turn to your father's not there for you, and you feel like you're in psychological prison because you're all alone and nobody to turn to. And then you turn within yourself, and there's darkness there because if your parents didn't put in those emotional goodies, so to speak, into the fiber of your being, then you don't have it there. So in terms of feeling your symptoms, Oscar, you started out by saying that you feel like you're not doing well. So what is going on with you?
Well, I don't really want to get off topics that you guys are on, but pretty much, like I said, I felt like I was a shell.
Okay.
And then
like a shell.
I started
a shell?
Yeah, a shell, just a shell. Like I was going through life. I didn't have anything inside. Okay. I was just a shell. And then this girl, I don't know how to explain it, but this girl, she I asked her out, and then that was kind of the end of it. Like she just kind of didn't tell me, but she said, don't let people step all over you. But then she continued to do that very thing.
Yeah, step all over you.
And step all over you. Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of sad, but because you don't get too many guys that go through this. But she physically hit me. And this went on for 10 years, and like I didn't know how to get out.
All right, so let's make it relevant to highly sensitive people, since that's the topic.
Let's do that.
And so no. I think that there's a nurture component to it. And so when you're a shell and your mother over smothers you, what happens is you don't get a thick skin. Understood? Okay?
Yeah.
So then you become highly sensitive because you're people pleasing your mother. She's not really nourishing you, and so you don't build the foundation within yourself, and so that hollowness makes you sensitive. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, and then somebody can get in there and they can start hooking into your sensitivity and using you and manipulating you and making you feel bad and actually projecting their own feelings into you. So you then become, like you said, you're a shell. Now you're kind of like a garbage can for other people's negative emotions. Can you relate to that?
Oh, definitely. I've been feeling that way for a while, and I did start self-medicating with drugs. And
makes sense.
But right now, I'm just, there's been like last few weeks I've been wanting to kind of kill myself, I guess.
I'm really sorry to hear that.
And,
listen, just for you to know, you don't have to live this way. You really don't. And the killing yourself is that aggression that you feel, the anger, turned inward. So instead of killing another person, which I don't recommend, okay, nor do I recommend
I would never do that.
Killing yourself. So in other words, from that mind map perspective, it's panel number 6. You're not imploding. If you're not imploding, then you're exploding. And what we want you to do in the treatment or whenever is unloading and expressing. Okay, because
Okay.
this highly sensitive area within you that has no boundaries, no protection layer, it gets filled up fast with toxins. Get it? And
Yeah,
then you have to
definitely.
release the toxins and clean out, because it's a highly sensitive person, or maybe, let's say in this case, a violated person, which then makes you highly sensitive and prone to people who can get in there and inject their toxicity into you. Well, that just means that you have to learn how to empty out that poison and fix your boundaries or your walls, and redo and reprocess the feelings that you were left with in the first few years of life. Okay, does that make sense? So we're really going to be working, if you choose to do the work, to thicken your
I
skin.
definitely want to.
Okay, yeah, thicken your skin and let out the emotional poison. And so whatever happened in those first few years of life is that blueprint that laid down, that made you sensitive, that made you prone to people who use and abuse you and hit you in your case. And that's because it's always the case. And again, this is not a fault kind of a system. It's a multi-generational emotional tracking system where we're going to recognize patterns, that mom did this because she was done to also. So if we take a genogram of your mother, then we might find that she was an empty shell. She didn't know how to be a really wonderful parent. I don't know where your dad was in the picture. I'm imagining not a very strong father. Am I correct?
Like I said, narcissist, so, but it's really hard to get anything from him, like,
Okay.
ever.
Okay. So he wasn't to stand for you. So he didn't help to strengthen you because he was too self-involved, correct?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there you stand alone, empty shell. People are poking at you. People are going in there. No boundaries. It's very painful. And then on top of that, if you happen to be one of these highly sensitive people by nature, where your skin is sensitive to touch and your eyes are sensitive to light, and your ears are sensitive to sound, and so on, it just will irritate and exacerbate everything that you're saying. Okay, so it's like layer upon layer.
And sometimes, with the research I read, was you feel overwhelmed because you have all the stimulation, right?
All the time.
All the time.
All
You
the
know, you
time.
feel
I feel
people's
like-
emotions.
Yeah.
It's too much light, too much sound, too much of everything, and it's like, holy cow! I just need to, withdraw and just chill to just rebalance myself.
You know,
Yeah, sometimes I just kind of want to scream. Just like I get too much of I don't know what, and I don't know what to do with it.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
it's an
here's-
overload. So you've got to, take a step back and just withdraw so that you can balance yourself out and re-enter the world. It's just normal. They said it's okay to be gone for a couple of days just to kind of, process all the input that you're feeling.
So one of the things that you could do with it is to channel it, because as a highly sensitive people, you always also want to respect and embrace your creative side. So tell me a little bit about your sensitive, good-hearted, creative self. And I'm sure that exists.
I would probably relate a little more to, just good-hearted. I feel like I just I can find good in everybody, and to me, everybody's good. And I'm always giving people like second, third, fourth, fifth chances.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I mean, I feel like everybody's got some good in them, and I don't know. I feel like I do always get hurt. I'm maybe too sensitive because I know some people sometimes, like family or whatever, they don't mean like things in such a harsh way, but I always take it kind of like super bad.
So I
where
want
like
you to
it kind of just devastates me.
Okay, so I want you to consider being even more sensitive to yourself. Okay? Sensitive to yourself. Like we like to say, Walt likes to say, put on the oxygen mask first.
Right. You got to put on yourself first before you help anybody else.
Right. So when you consider your own feelings and you take care of yourself in whatever way possible, then you can become more of the light to other people. And so, speaking of channeling it to other people, if you have a good-hearted nature, it's not about giving people 3, 4, 5 chances, because they may be abusing you. Understood? What you want to do is you want to help the people that will benefit by your help.
But not at your expense.
Not at your expense.
Yeah.
It's called helpful help. All right? What's helpful help? Like, is it helpful help for me to keep cleaning up after a child that doesn't learn any lessons about keeping his or her toys in order? That's not helpful help. That's enabling. Understood?
Right.
So it's possible that your mother may have enabled you because she was a smotherer kind of mother.
I think so.
Right? Okay. And what culture are you from, by the way?
I'm Hispanic.
Okay, so, and this is another thing I really, really like to study. I like to study cultural wounds, and we're going to do an episode on cultural wounds. And I find that in the Hispanic culture, smothering is one of the main injuries, because mother likes to take care of her child, and her way of taking care of her child is to make sure that everything's okay. Up to a point, that's nice, but past a point, it becomes enabling or disabling, I should say. Okay? So what I want you to do is channel it into being good to people who can take in your good, and stop giving people 3, 4, 5 chances. You know, like once, shame on them twice maybe again, and third time, shame on you, because you're just repeating a bad pattern. Okay, so does that help you, Oscar?
It does. One last question, just
sure.
Maury on the phone, but a lot of this stuff, like, I've been reading or going over, and I feel like I understand it, but it just seems like my life's been like this for so long.
Okay, I
can't find a way to make change.
That's right, because we need to get the psychological poison. It's not just understanding it in your head. The mind map is geared toward processing not only the logical, cognitive. You got to get the poison out. You've got to get the repressed expressed. Got it? So reach out to me, and I'll put you with a member of the team that could be very helpful to you, okay? And again, I want you to know that we have people on staff that work on sliding scale fees, and I'll find you somebody that's a good match for you, okay?
Because what it boils down to is it's a 3-step process. First, we have to find out, how you've been encoded.
Right.
And identify that, and then we have to dismantle it and decode it, and then once we finish with that, then we have to recode it.
Encode, decode, recode.
So and it's not as complicated as you think. Once you've already started, so we're just going to put the icing on the cake that you've already started.
Exactly.
It can happen easily.
Right. Okay. So thank you.
Good. I'm gonna do that.
All right.
And get the book, because the book will help organize your
on
brain.
Amazon.
Yeah.
Be the Cause: Healing Human Disconnect by Dr. Judy Rosenberg. It's on Amazon.
All right. Well,
thanks, Oscar.
Yeah,
God bless. Thanks for calling.
Thank you so much for calling in. So again, I'm a little bit of a nurture person. So I think, again, people are highly sensitive because they haven't been taught boundaries, that they've been overwhelmed, that they haven't been attuned to, they haven't been properly nurtured, they haven't been, quote, contained. So their boundaries are loose, and they let all of those sensations through. So,
and again, as I say often, you have to look out for number one, because if you are not looking out for yourself, ultimately nobody will.
Right. Yeah. And it also, Walt, it reminds me, Oscar, thank you for that call, because it reminds me that most of the people who are watching are people who have experienced in some cases, extreme pain from narcissistic injuries, which is the injury to the core of the self. So even though we're doing a show on highly sensitive people, I respect the fact that people are tuning in here because they want to know more about these narcissistic injuries and how they impact the psyche, how they impact our physical and mental health, because they're very intertwined. So in this case, you can see the injury, the smothering, the narcissistic father, this person, Oscar, who feels like he's a shell because he wasn't fed the emotional goodies, and now he's sensitive.
And we have another call. Okay. Thanks for calling.
Yes.
Can we hear you now? Well, we know calling works because the last caller got through,
We'll be patient. Okay.
Can you hear us now? Okay. Well, call back. Thanks for calling. You are on the couch with Dr. Judy and Walt.
Oh, hi, Walt and Dr. Judy.
Hi.
My name is Sandra,
Nice to meet you.
Hey, Sandra.
and I have been reading the Be the Cause Healing Human Disconnect book. I have it, and I also have been listening to your videos all day long at work. I work 10 hours a day, and I get to
Wow.
listen to stuff.
Oh, lucky
what do
you
you-
or lucky us. I don't know which.
What do you do
I'm
for
totally blessed.
Oh, thank you very much, really.
What do you
All day
do for a
long.
living that you're working so many hours?
It's just a production job, 4 days a week.
Okay. And where are you calling from?
Oregon.
Oregon. Okay. So what's going on in your life? What motivated you to call in tonight?
I got your email, and it said you were talking about sensitive people, and I was thinking that I'm sensitive, and I am sensitive to noise and to
Yes.
lights and things, but I had a thing happen at work today that kind of triggered sensitivity. There's a giant long history to what's going on, but my lead called me out because when I'm listening, I have like a 3x3 sticky note, and so I'm taking notes when I hear something in my head.
Okay.
I think of something, so I write it down.
Yeah.
And so I do this throughout the 10 hours. And if I were to add up all the minutes I do, even though I shouldn't be doing this while I'm working, but I am, and I got called on it today.
What are you
And,
writing down that you got called out on?
Just little notes like attachment trauma, just things that while I'm listening.
Yeah,
to
little
you guys,
little aha moments
or
that are hitting her while she's listening to the show, or other things.
things that are exactly things that
Right.
are triggering
Right.
inside me. What triggers me?
Okay,
Or
you
whatever.
mean as you're listening to our show, you're working, you're listening to our show, and you're getting these aha moments, and so you're recording them? Okay, I see. All right.
So I
And
take little notes. So if I were to add up all the seconds that I use doing that, it might add up to 5 minutes total for a 10-hour day.
Gotcha.
I know I shouldn't be doing it. So my lead called me on it.
So
what-
they want your undivided attention.
And that's understandable.
Okay.
But what really bugs me is there's a narcissist that, of course, in our work group, there's always at least one at work. And she gets by with complete murder because she is already she's hooked this lead into her orbit. She's woven her web around her, and she gets by with murder. Like she can go and do things like 12 times a day, leave her desk and go do things, and waste tons of time, stand and eat, and then when the lead asks her, well, how was your break? She says, oh, I wasn't on break. I just need to get something to eat. So she gets by with all this stuff.
Okay,
And I do
Isn't that by
one of those
definition a
things.
break?
so is this person kind of like a golden child, if you will, to the boss?
Oh yes. Oh, absolutely. She has
Okay.
become. But she's horrible. She lies, and she's a narcissist. She does all these lying and manipulating people, and she got me removed from a position, which actually turned out to be a godsend because I don't have to work in the same room with this gal.
That's
And I
great.
actually like the job I'm doing better, so that all worked
Okay.
out fine.
First of all, I love those cursed by design, Sandra. they're wonderful. Okay, they look like bad news, but they actually end up being
Yeah,
a
and-
lot better news than we
Yeah.
even could have imagined.
Even though she's so controlling, she controlled you right out of her realm.
Right.
Because probably you were a
and it worked
threat.
out-
Yeah,
it
or
worked
you
out
were under
beautiful
her.
for me.
Yeah.
And not to instigate more video watching, we did 3 episodes on corporate disconnect, healing corporate
We did.
disconnect.
I've listened to those.
You have.
uh-oh.
Okay, so you understand that corporations could be like dysfunctional families, and then
absolutely.
right. But on the
Ours
other
is a
hand,
dysfunctional family.
you don't want to give them reason to call you out. So maybe it would be a good idea to watch the videos on a lunch break or after work or on the drive to the morning, your office. And you can download them, you can listen to them, you can watch them and listen to them, either way. And you can catch us on iTunes, Stitcher, iHeart, right? Well, to my
Tune in.
Right?
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, go ahead. So do you have a question about any of this?
So I listened to them, and I stopped taking notes because I know that's not what I'm supposed to be doing. But I'm listening because I have to listen. It just brings sanity to my mind. But I just wonder. I don't know what to do with my. I can't defend myself, or I can't ever. I just wonder how not to be so sensitive.
How not to be so sensitive? Okay, so how about...
Yeah, because then I just ruminated the rest of the day off and on about this and got angry and got mad about the girl, how she gets by with murder, but I do this one little thing and I'm in trouble.
Well,
then I feel shame because I'm...
I think that this situation is triggering more than meets the eye, okay? I really think that you're in a kind of a trigger of not knowing anything about your family dynamics, but it seems like the theme is something's not fair, someone is favored, you're not being heard and seen, you're not being considered. Does this sound familiar? Does this parallel to your family of origin?
Sure.
Okay, so can you see why? So how to not be as sensitive. Number one, you've got to work through the layer number one, which is the original cause. Get it? Okay,
yeah.
The original cause, which is the blueprint, which is your family of origin. And so your work is actually a trigger. It's not the cause, it's the trigger. And as you identify your negative core belief and the way life activates that core belief and dismantle it, meaning that you identify it as a lie and you don't identify with it anymore. Instead, you identify it and not with it. It's like saying, there's the poison, but I'm not attached to the poison. So that's through elevating your consciousness and going on a journey of psychoeducation so that you could learn how to identify these wounds and how to embed, and that not allowing people in there. Okay, that's where the boundaries come in. So 2 things. Number 1, dismantling the bomb, okay, the hook. And number 2, drawing boundaries around yourself so that these people can't get in there and they're just not permitted into that space, except, limited entry only to do the work, ask a question, convey information, and then get your paycheck and you're out of there.
Does the mind map, do you somehow learn how to have some kind of boundaries once you work through the mind map?
Yes. Okay, so if you look at panels, if you could put it up there for a second, okay, panels 1 through 3 are the encoding part. You see the wounds of childhood, those little black dots, and then panel 3 is how all that stuff encodes into your self-esteem. And then we've got to rip all that apart, like taking down a bad building, a bad structure. And then panel 7, 8, 9 is the recode. So in panel number 7, you get to learn how to merge with people without being vampired. You get to learn how to merge with people without feeling that you're being zapped of energy, that you're going to be less than as a result. And we trace that back to your family of origin because that's what happened. And so now that's what you're used to. You're used to merging with people who take from you, not who give to you. Okay, so you learn that, and then you reprocess the feelings and the anger and the upset and the hurt and the pain of system number 1, which is the original blueprint, and then you get to grieve what happened, and then paradigm shift out of that, and then be the cause, like my book says, of part 2 of your life. Does that make logical sense to you?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm about halfway through your book, so I don't know if I got to anything that talks about boundaries yet.
Okay, what panel are you on?
Or chapter?
see. Panel 4. I'm in panel 4.
Yeah, because panel 5 is the boundaries thing. Okay.
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 Well,
So
I'm
you're
almost there.
just there. So the
Preview of coming
panel
attractions.
5 are the defense mechanisms that we erect to spare ourselves from the wounds of childhood. It's kind of like the defense mechanisms that shore us up and protect us, but they're also our prison. Get it? So when we erect a boundary, sometimes we shut down and then that shuts people down. Or sometimes when we do a defense mechanism, we also might fill it with alcohol or food or whatever, which again numbs us out. It doesn't allow us to let in the light. Okay, so while you're reading it, I think it'll unfold. And if you're ever ready to take this mind map journey, reach out to me and I'll connect you with a member of the team. And a big part of the work is not just intellectually knowing what's going on, but actually reprocessing the feelings, which you do in therapy. Okay?
Yeah, I'm actually planning on doing your program. And I emailed you, and I emailed you this giant email, but
okay, I'll look for it again. Okay, did I respond to you, Sandra? Did I?
You did. You did.
I did. Okay.
You did. Yeah, you said you're going to put me with somebody with a name like
Atusa?
I think so.
Or okay, I'll check that email again. Okay, and did you start yet, or do you have an appointment to start yet?
No, I haven't started. I need to make an appointment.
She wants to probably get a little more of the book underneath her belt first.
Yeah, and keep listening.
I was going to try to read the book first and just get that under.
Right.
Understandable.
I definitely know my family history's full of disconnect.
Okay.
But
whose isn't?
And I will look up
really.
I will look up your email again to remind myself of what's going on with you. And whenever you're ready, start. Okay. And you can definitely see how these injuries of childhood get triggered in the workplace, unfortunately. The dysfunctional family of the workplace can do it again, okay?
Yeah, and I was married to a narcissist, so I feel like
do it too.
I can stand to be around any narcissist anymore. They just can't.
Well, they tend to do a number on us. Yes.
We're hoping that this show will help people to recognize what it is, and also for people who suffer from narcissistic personality disorder, they're less likely to call because they're very defended. But seriously, if any of you feel that you lack empathy, if your significant others are complaining that you're just not connecting with them, and if your people are complaining that you're demeaning, devaluing, destroying, and discarding you, please don't feel ashamed to reach out for help. We do treat this disorder, and we're not about shaming or blaming you or faulting you for this. It's narcissistically injured people are injured people, and they react this way, and other people don't appreciate the outcome of their reactions. Okay, so bottom line is that we want to heal this disconnect so that you can all reboot the system and be healthy and really connect to people and have a more intact, compassionate, and passionate life.
Do you do couples counseling over Skype?
Yes, we do a lot of work over Skype, and we usually, if there are deep childhood wounds, we like to separate the couple and have each one do individual therapy, and once they're more psychologically balanced, cleaned up, so to speak, then we put the couple back together. Okay? Makes sense too?
Yeah. So if I were able to call tomorrow about, I know you have some kind of free consultation.
Yeah.
I were able
call
to
me.
Things.
Call me tomorrow. Just call me tomorrow. Reach out to me. I'll find your email. Just shoot me another email and I'll call you. We'll set something up. Okay? be happy to.
Okay, thanks.
Okay,
Sandra,
thank
thanks
you.
so much for
Really
listening
impressed
to
by
all our
your
shows
video.
Absolutely.
and reading the book and being a part of our show. And we'll look forward to more.
Yeah, but I've liked you and on
Thank you.
Facebook and all that stuff.
Super.
Okay, thank
Well,
you
thanks
so
a billion,
much. Really
and
appreciate it.
we'll look forward to more. God bless.
And I think the workplace.
And thank you for your work.
You're
Oh, thank you.
welcome. Our pleasure. And
Really
I think
is.
the work is somewhere where the highly sensitive people gets toasted and roasted. And I can tell you from my own personal experience that I had very little tolerance when I was a little younger. I worked at Gibraltar Savings and Loan. Remember when that was in existence?
Oh, my goodness.
Oh my goodness. And unfortunately, I didn't last long there. I was a loan officer.
Yeah.
That was so not me. And the loan officer and the boss at the company, I just didn't know what I was doing. And the boss hated me, the employees and I did not get along, mainly because I didn't know what I was doing. And I really hated being there. And how it manifested in me, in my sensitivity, is that I became very psychosomatic. I'd come home with tremendous neck aches and back aches. And I was highly sensitive. And by the end of a few months' time, I just said that, I don't care what it takes, but I'm getting out of here. I can't do it. So.
That's what's happened to me in the past too. I've almost got to the point where I was going to have a gallbladder taken out.
Yeah, it's
and I just quit, when I quit the job, all my issues disappeared immediately.
Immediately,
like,
right?
seconds.
Yeah. So we are highly. I think we're all sensitive people, and some people are even more highly sensitive. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you for calling in.
Thanks, Sandra.
Appreciate it.
Talk to you
Thank
soon.
you.
God bless.
Bye.
Well, we got one more call, but we're out of time. We really are.
Call back next week.
Call back next week because it seems like, Judy, we
And
have
write us.
and write us at info@drjudywtf.com. That's info@drjudywtf.com. We read and respond to everything that comes in, and it seems we've picked a very highly sensitive topic.
Yes, we have.
So we are going to segue to our song,
Shrink that tune.
and we're going to
Is it
shrink
time
that
to
tune.
shrink
It
that
is time
tune?
to that.
Okay.
So we're going to shrink a song called "I'm Sensitive"
Good
by
title.
by Jewel.
Very sensitive song that you chose here, Walt.
Thank you.
Sensitive to the topic.
Yes,
Okay.
we try.
Yeah.
So I'm going to read the lyrics, and we're going to interpret the song. Dr. Judy is, and we'll be off. And I was thinking that I might fly today, just to disprove all the things you say. It doesn't take a talent to be mean. Your words can crush things that are unseen.
Okay, so this person is trying to make up for all of the disapprovals and all of the crushing, so to speak. So can you see the highs and the lows? They want to fly up there to avoid
Be
the
above it
down
all.
there.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
So please be careful with me. I'm sensitive. I like to stay that way. You always tell me that it's impossible to be respected and be a girl. Why is it gotta be so complicated? Why you gotta tell me if I'm hated?
Well, she's admitting that she's sensitive. She wants to stay that way because there is something lovely about being vulnerable and soft and creative and being able to take in the world. And this is a reference to a girl. So, but even though she wants to be sensitive, it doesn't mean that she wants her boundaries violated. She wants to be respected. And so she's saying, why can't you just respect me? It doesn't have to be all that complicated.
That's what you think. So please be careful with me. I'm sensitive, and I'd like to stay that way. I was thinking that it might do some good if we robbed the cynics and took all their food. That way, what they believe will have taken place, and we'll give it to anybody who has some faith.
That's a very interesting line.
Yes.
Rob the cynics and took all their food, and I guess take away the power of the negativity so that they don't affect the person as much. They give it away to someone who has faith, so kind of like neutralize the cynics and the bad
or maybe take away the nutrients or something.
The negative nutrients, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So please be careful with me. I'm sensitive, and I'd like to stay that way. I have this theory that if we're told we're bad, then that's the only idea we've ever have.
Well, boy, does that ever go along with my panel 3 and negative core beliefs and the blueprint, right, and how we encode stuff. She's right. If we're told that we're bad as children, we believe it, we buy it,
and we're going to live up to it.
That's the only idea we'll ever have until it's dismantled.
Until it's dismantled. But maybe if we are surrounded in beauty, someday we'll become what we see, because anyone can start a conflict. It's harder yet to discard it. I'd rather see the world from another angle. We are everyday angels. Be careful with me, because I'd like to stay that way.
So this is also so beautiful, because she'd like to preserve her worldview that things are beautiful, and it doesn't have to be this conflicted, disregarding place. She wants to preserve her lens of perception of beauty of the world, and in order for her to do so, she needs to have a declaration: be careful with me, I'm sensitive, please don't ruin my way of perceiving beauty in the world. I think it's really well put, this song. I like the words.
Yes, it's terrific. So it's a little mellow.
Yeah.
It's by Jewel. It's called I'm Sensitive. And, of course, you've been tuning into a couple of highly sensitive people. Oh, by the way, highly sensitive people make amazing counselors and psychologists.
That's good to know.
Yeah,
Okay.
just in case you wanted to know.
Okay.
And we're going to continue our discussion next week on highly sensitive people. So you HSPs can tune in then. And you can find us on Stitcher, TuneIn, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, and, of course, YouTube. And we really appreciate all your likes, your shares, your comments, and getting involved in our community. And so I'm your host, Walt Lesk, with Dr. Judy Rosenberg, founder of the Psychological Healing Center, which
and our wonderful team.
and a wonderful team of therapists that you have on staff.
Yes.
And they have offices in Beverly Hills, Sherman Oaks, and all over the globe.
Skype phone.
Skype and phone,
Yes.
right? So that's our show for this